So an ex-Destiny and ex-Halo producer say that live service is better for developers and players.
Reclaimer, we must keep moving. Reclaimer?
Yeah. No.
A lot of games are going down this live service route that just honestly shouldn't be live service. Anthem, that's a perfect example of a game that shouldn't have been what we would consider live service. Live service, I think a lot of the time actually takes away from games that would be really good stories.
Yep.
Most of the time. Okay, so a former Halo and Destiny executive producer at Bungie has said that the live service model is so much better for developers and players, as opposed to the one-off price of a $60 or $70 purchase model. So speaking to PC Gamer, Furycraft's game CEO and former Halo Reach and Destiny executive producer g.o.d said that traditional method of buying games, meaning to make a single payment of around 60, 70, whatever, causes developers to make decisions which were not in the best interest of players. You know, as opposed to a drip feed of content over a year.
One of the best live service games, I think we'll all agree, was Helldivers, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Still, yeah. Here's the problem. It still has a huge drought of content. It feels like the gameplay loop is just extremely repetitive. Like, people left that game not just because of the Sony thing. The Sony thing was just the final straw. To be honest, if the Sony thing got actually fully resolved, which I believe it still hasn't, if that had happened, I don't think a lot of people would have even come back just because of the game. At that point, people were starting to drop off the game because it was becoming stale. It was becoming too repetitive. And that
was really stretching out that story to get to the Illuminate. As of right now, the Illuminates still aren't there.
Yep. Crazy.
And they're probably not going to be there till like near the end of the year.
Or sometime in the spring.
He goes on to say, I always felt like in the $60 box product model, I was having to make decisions that were not in the best interest of players. The games as a service model is so much better for developers and players. It was in the best interest of how do we sell as many copies in the first 48 hours as we can. One of the huge strengths of the games as a service model is you can be long-term. You can think long-term in terms of what is best for player and how does that overlap with what's best for the company. I think it allows you to make much, much, much better decisions overall. I will go back to Moz's point. A bad decision's a bad decision, regardless if it's a live service or not. And in fact, a bad decision in a live service game is far worse than a bad decision in just your standard day one release of a full game, okay? Because, again, go back to Destiny. When Destiny has a bad season, the game's fucking dead. They need good seasons to bring it back.
Yep.
Okay. So he referenced the now defunct E3 and the trailers and gameplay clips which premiered there, promising what he called bullshit vaporware that players would never actually get to experience because all developers had to do was convince them to spend $60. But you could say the exact same thing. You know what a great example is? Division. When you get a chance, go back and watch the E3 trailer full of Division. That is not what fucking came out. And that was a live service.
The only thing that makes me think it might be easier for developers is, so say if I were to make the next Halo, I'm expected to make the graphics better, I'm expected to up the movement a bit better, whereas a Destiny DLC, so you don't have to add better graphics and all that, you know what I mean? You don't have to build like a new engine or upgrade the engine for the graphics. That's the only thing that comes to my mind when I think it might be a little bit easier for developers. You can just start work straight away with the engine and the graphics that you already like know and to work with. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that comes to my mind that makes it a bit easier.
This is making it sound like a standard $60, $70 released full game cannot have a DLC pack in the future. And that's absolute bullshit. Look at Elden Ring. Shadow of the Erdtree at the moment.
Yeah.
That came out of live servers. And that put out a DLC that's almost a new game.
Yeah. It's this generation's Shivering Isles, as far as I'm concerned, with the amount of content it gives you.
Another example, GTA 4. When people talk about GTA 4, they don't talk about default vanilla, like just on its own GTA 4. They talk about with the episodes.
Yep.
With Lost in the Damned and the Ballad of Gay Tony.
I don't even think... Yeah, sorry.
You can't even buy it separately anymore digitally.
Yeah.
If you can find physical copies, yeah, but digitally,
no.
it's all bundled together as one game. So DLC is still viable. You just have to put effort into DLC.
It has to be good.
If you make good quality shit, guess what? People will buy it. This is the problem. It's like, well, it's really difficult to put out a good DLC. It's really difficult to put out a good game. So let's use live service as a crutch.
Yeah, and this is another thing I tell people as well, is live service can be good if they did it fucking right. This is the thing. All the live service games that we have are just fucking shit right now. That's the thing. Live service games could be fucking good, but instead of getting good live service games and they're actually releasing cool fucking updates every once in a while, we're getting something like fucking Suicide Squad. Right? Where they're all fucking skull and bones. You know, when they're adding fucking dragons to a pirate game. You're telling me that's not a fucking bad decision? I don't know. I think live service games can work and can be good if they just actually made it good. I mean, we've had some banger fucking Apex updates, and then we've had absolute fucking garbage. It can work if you just make good ones, though. That's the thing. You have to put in mad work. If anything, I think live service games require more effort, because if you release just like a mini thing and there's not much content, then players are going to be fucking pissed, because a lot of these guys, they buy skins and stuff because they think the money's going into like the next big expansion or updates throughout the season. And if you just give us little expansions here and there where it's practically nothing, people are going to be fucking pissed.
3 things that a live service needs to have. It needs a compelling story that moves the thing forward from what we get at the base. It needs content that provides, that engages the players that, want to get it or, have fun with it. And as also a stronger, more engaging story where it feels like the players are making an actual difference in what's going on. Like you said before about Helldivers, Cream, that goes on that fine line of what makes a good live service. But because of the repetitiveness about the whole gameplay, the entire cycle, it was getting too small for people to feel comfortable with anymore. I'm sure once the Illuminate come out, it'll pick right back up. A lot of people will be really interested to fight a brand new faction. But how long is that going to last? If it's going to start feeling like the same kind of updated major missions, major events going on and on.
I mean, my worry with Helldivers is it's going to take them too long. And if they take too long, that paired with still the Sony issue not being solved, I think we can check right now. It's still going to be up there. So legally, they can still go ahead and do that shit. That's my worry for that game. I think that might be a problem.
Yeah, they did it right. It's just their game cycle is just too small for a lot of players to keep wanting to come back and play. They get their fill of it, and then that's it.
All right, let's keep going with this. I would wager that any developer who has ever worked in the $60 box product model up until the point where E3 was cancelled has a story about the E3 build, he said. It's like, let's just jam as much bullshit vaporware into the build as we can in the next 3 months because we have a huge showing at E3. I'm going to cut him off right fucking there, and it's going to go back to a game that you mentioned, Cream, Anthem. Anthem is everything he's saying right there about a $60 game. I am applying to Anthem, and that was supposed to be a live service. That trailer came out before any production of the game had started. To me, this whole interview just comes across as him saying must defend live service no matter what. Even though everything he's saying...
He worked on fucking Destiny, no shit.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. He can just say, there's good parts of it and bad parts of it. What a fucking dipshit.
Mm-hmm. I would wager that some of those hugely significant percentage of those E3 efforts ended up on the cutting room floor because they were half-baked and caused people to crunch and really make huge sacrifices to get in. Again, go look at the Division trailer. That's my favorite example of a hugely impactful decisions that were not about what is best for the player. And crunch, crunch sucks. No one likes it, but it is a thing. If you want an example of where crunch worked, as bad as that is, look at the Arkham games.
Yeah.
They had that thing of it all comes together in the last moment. None of those games were live service. And now look at their most recent game, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. What Mozza brought up, that is a live service, and that's a hunk of fucking shit. So this whole thing's just fucking ridiculous, man. Like, this just comes across as copium and must defend live service.